Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tay Brown. I am the Administrative Coordinator here at the Temple SBDC. Thank you for joining us today for 5 ways to improve your website for better marketing and sales. The Temple SBD helps small businesses start, grow, and succeed. We do this through our no-cost consulting and a variety of our no-cost webinars and training programs like you're joining us for today. We are recording today's session. A copy of the recording and the slide deck will be sent to all attendees in a follow-up email that's sent within 2 to 3 business days after the webinar. We do encourage you to post any questions that you may have in the Q&A and chat box. Now I will turn over the floor to Jeff Long.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited to give this material. I have different webinars that I've given over the years. This one's kind of a new one that I'm really excited about based on the content, based on some of the requests. And I was saying before the webinar started, my dad's side of the family is from the Lancaster, Coatesville area. Have friends, have family there, and have good memories of being there, as well as Philadelphia, everywhere in between. And then lastly, I've worked with different SBDCs over the years, New York City, obviously Temple, going back several years, Dayton, Ohio, and then several others. And so I enjoy startups, learning how to improve your company, how to grow and scale. So let me switch over to my slides here. And I will jump right in. All right, so just a little bit about me. You can find my website here at truefocusmedia.com, and you can see my LinkedIn there as well. So I would love for anybody to reach out, connect with me, especially on LinkedIn or my website, but LinkedIn, just so we can be connected there. Like it says, based in Ohio, but serving the world. You know, I've worked with a lot of companies since 2003, companies of all sizes, different industries, different locations. And so, you know, I'm confident that this material here in this session will be of help to you. If you have any questions throughout this webinar, you know, please put it there in the chat box. And so don't be afraid to ask any questions as we have people rolling in here. And I do see the question about, you know, will the slides be emailed afterwards? Yes, they will be. And I'll let the folks there at Temple send that out. So a little bit about me and my company. So True Focus Media is my company. You can summarize pretty much everything I do in the terms of marketing automation, right? We help marketing departments be more effective and efficient. We help them help their salespeople. We help the overall company, whether that's large, medium, or small. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. We do a lot of website design, development, and e-commerce. And so that's what we're going to be talking about here today. But we also do a lot of video marketing, which we'll talk about how that relates to you and your company and your website. And then lastly, we do some e-learning projects, right? I always tell people, in fact, just before this webinar, I had a call with a company, and I said, you know, hey, we do a lot of video marketing and production and training, website design and development. And where those intersect, of course, is e-learning. And so I'll just touch on that briefly about that, the importance of that in future slides. So I've been an agency owner since 2003. I've learned a lot of things. I've seen what works, what doesn't work. And I really want to give you a practical presentation about 5 ways to improve your website for better marketing and sales. So let's dive right in. But to help me help you, post in the chat, what size of company are you with? And I understand this could be just you. Maybe you're a startup, an entrepreneur, solopreneur, etc. Or maybe you're with a company, 5, 10 people, maybe 50 to 100 people, whatever that is. If you don't mind just putting that in there. Okay, this is super helpful. Yeah. So a lot of solopreneurs, a lot of, yep, totally get it. Okay, so this is super helpful. So that'll help me kind of custom tailor this more to that, which I already, was planning on, but it does help validate. All right, so I always joke that this kind of model guy, I'm like, hey, don't be confused. We both have blue shirts on, but we're not the same person. So I always put that there, maybe to think that I'm as good looking as that model guy. But my goal for this webinar are three things primarily. I really want you to have a strategy in place to get more leads, boost your SEO, that's your Google rankings, and increase sales. And then with that, I want you to be able to do more with less, right? As a solopreneur, you're juggling a lot of balls, you're wearing a lot of hats, whatever analogy you want to use. There's a lot going on, and I want to help make things more efficient and effective. And then almost most importantly, or because we'll be talking about this, I want customers to come to you in an automated way. So that's kind of high level. Let me go and show you this pyramid. So these are the 5 things I'll be talking about. You can see 3 of them there. I've kind of kept the two, number 2 and 3 there, a little secret. So you continue watching here. But we'll talk about your platform, some other things, SEO and automation. All right. And so let's jump in. Now, I do want to say with the things I'm going to be talking about, while it's 5 tips, I'll give a lot of examples, a lot of strategy, a lot of things, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed. So pick one thing, right? Pick one thing. Hey, Jeff, I'm going to work on this this month, this quarter, this year. Don't worry about all 5. Don't worry about perfecting things. Being in business for 21 years now, it can get overwhelming with all the things I want to do, have to do, see these experts recommending. So just pick one, and that lowers the maybe anxiety or overwhelm. All right, last thing that would help me, if you could post in the chat, what type of products do you sell? That would be beneficial, just to, again, understand, some of your services, products, and it could be services. I should have put that in there. What type of products and services do you offer? Great. Yeah, I'm reading the chat here. This is super helpful. I really appreciate your input because, like I said, that really helps helps me. Ooh, desserts. That sounds awesome. I'm hungry here. All right, so before I get too hungry, let's move forward. So let me kind of state the obvious, but I really want to demonstrate just how and why your website is so important. Massage therapy. I've worked with a lot of some chiropractors and different types of holistic companies over the years. Custom kitty liners, very cool. Worked with a holistic vet. So anyway, let me get back to my slides there. So the reason why your website is so important is because it's your home base that you control, right? It's simply put, that's the I could almost close up shop here, and that's why your website is so important. Obviously, with social media constantly changing, they own your content, and they can change the rules at any time. I've had friends, colleagues get locked out of their Facebook ad accounts because one of their clients, sold something that all of a sudden was not on the approved list, or maybe they're, heavy into this social media platform or that, and things change. I'm heavily involved on LinkedIn and YouTube. Even this year, I've seen LinkedIn change some things quite a bit, and so we always have to pivot and move. Now, I think social media is tremendously beneficial for marketing and sales, but it should be one of your outlets, not your main outlet. And then customers want to shop 24/7. Even for B2B solutions, I work with a lot of B2B companies, and people still want to do their research, want to look for videos and reviews and things like that. And so make sure that you have enough content in those areas. And we'll talk more about that. And then obviously, if you can sell direct to customers, you don't have to rely on platforms like Amazon. So if it's on your website, Customers can go there. You control everything. There's some tremendous benefits of that. Now, without knowing your business, I don't know if Amazon is good or bad for you to use, but there's pros and cons to being heavily involved in Amazon. And again, I have some really good friends and colleagues in the Amazon space. Amazon's always changing things. It's getting harder to sell because of competition and some other things. All right, now I like this quote by Regis McKenna: "Marketing is everything, and everything is marketing." So just kind of keep that in mind. I know as solopreneurs, we're always looking for affordable solutions that could be cheap, that could be free. But as you know, sometimes there is a time cost when you're looking for free solutions. So I will give some free solutions here, some strategies that are free. I'm not charging you for this webinar, but do recognize that sometimes you have to pay money. You have to invest money to go further and faster and look more professional. So, whatever that looks like for you, just use that wisely. Don't just throw money around, of course, but invest in your company, invest in yourself. Hire professionals or coaches or people that can do things for you. So let's talk about these five ways to market your website. The first one is platform. All right, now there are a lot of different platforms you can use. There's Wix. There's a lot. I boiled it down to the two that I think you should consider based on some pros and cons. Now, at the start of this, I will say WordPress, I typically recommend the most, and I'll talk about the pros and cons here. So first of all, it's very flexible. It offers a lot of customization options because it has themes and plugins, and you can really create almost any type of website you could imagine. That's what my company does. We use WordPress exclusively. And, companies come to us, "Hey, Jeff, we want to make a website for, our big manufacturing facility, or we want to sell this type of product or this type of consulting service." We can do all of that in WordPress. It's very SEO friendly. We'll talk about SEO here in a little bit. WordPress is designed with SEO best practices in mind. So you can really optimize your website for SEO. John asks, is it possible to market a service business on Amazon, or is it just products? I would say it's probably just a products-based business using Amazon. You could sell your book, whether it's an ebook or a printed book, and within that, market your services. I have quite a few friends and colleagues that are very successful in that. So it's almost like a product first that can lead to services. But if you're only a service-based business, you probably wouldn't want to start with Amazon. I don't know of any use cases where services first would work on Amazon. Community support. WordPress has tremendous community support. There are forums that are very active. You can ask questions, you can respond, all of these things, and it's very beneficial. And then ownership and control. This is one of the big ones. With WordPress, you have complete control of your website and content, including hosting. So you're not locked into hosting and domain registry, and you can have control. Now, let me clarify something with WordPress. And this has always boggled my mind for the 15 whatever years that I've worked with WordPress. There are actually two versions of WordPress. One you can find at wordpress.com. It's free. It is more simple and stripped down, but maybe for a beginner, that might be an option. WordPress.org, you can find at wordpress.org. That is the version I use and recommend. That is called the self-hosted version of WordPress. So you need a hosting company, and not cheap hosting, not like $1.99 a month or $5 or whatever dollars. I would probably say it should cost $10 to $30 a month, probably more like 15 to 30 for a good host. Because with cheap hosting, your website can get hacked easier. So again, there's pros and cons to cheap hosting. That's the biggest one. Let's talk about cons of WordPress. There is a learning curve. Now, I would say any new platform, there's a learning curve, right? So whether you use Squarespace, Wix, WordPress, there's always a learning curve. It can, require some technical knowledge. Maintenance, there's regular updates and backups and security measures to keep things running smoothly and securely. Now, again, if you use a reputable website host, we use WP Engine, and there's some others. You're going to be much less susceptible. And then cost. While it is free, there are premium themes and plugins and hosting providers that can add up. To me, it's worth it, right? I'd rather pay $50 a year, $20 a month, whatever that is for some of these things, because it gets me there faster and better. And vulnerability, WordPress is a popular platform, and I've actually seen over the last 10 or 15 years, it become more and more susceptible to hackers. But honestly, every website is more and more susceptible to hackers. So I just don't know that you're going to get around that a whole lot. So those are the pros and cons of WordPress. Overall, if you're going to do it yourself, there is that learning curve. That probably is the biggest barrier to entry. But there are thousands of themes where they're templates where you can make your website look fantastic, where you don't have to code anything, you don't have to do a lot. We use a platform called Elementor, and it's almost like a drag and drop website builder. It's fantastic. So let's talk about Squarespace, some of the pros and cons here. And then I'll let you decide, if you don't have a website, or maybe you're like, yeah, Jeff, we have it on a simple platform. It doesn't look good. It doesn't do what I need. Maybe you want to consider changing. So Squarespace is very user-friendly. It has a lot of drag and drop editing features, and you don't have to code things, but you can use code if you want to. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure, meaning you can dig into some of the code and add better features, but you definitely don't have to. Design quality, just like WordPress, it has a lot of templates that are out of the box amazing, and then you can customize from there. And then probably one of the biggest pros of Squarespace is it's an all-in-one platform. So it includes hosting, registration, SSL, that's your security thing. And so it does it all in one. For some people, that makes it more simple, less complicated. So that might be a benefit to you. And then also it has 24/7 customer support. So whether it's live chat, email, you can access them around the clock. Some of the cons, limited customizations. So if you need to think outside the box, sometimes that can be more difficult. Whereas WordPress, you can do anything inside the box, outside the box, and everywhere in between. Squarespace is, fairly inexpensive, but, and they have tiered pricing plans, so you can look at that. I don't know that I've necessarily seen this, but sometimes Squarespace can have slower load times, and that can negatively impact your SEO. And then maybe one of the biggest things for some of you, if you're selling online, is e-commerce limitations. So Squarespace has done a lot over the years to improve this area. So like it says, it might be suitable for some small online stores, but if you're going to grow, Shopify is a dedicated e-commerce platform. You might go in that direction. Or WordPress has some fantastic e-commerce plugins and solutions. We've built some very robust e-commerce solutions. One of our sites, I don't know what they're up to now, probably 500 or 600 products that they sell on their website with different customizations, things like that. So those are the two platforms that I recommend, WordPress and Squarespace. Put in the chat, let me know if you use one of these platforms, or if you use a different platform and your thoughts on it. Maybe you're on Wix, or maybe you're on GoDaddy's website builder, and it's fine for now. And that is something your website can grow with you. Okay, great. Weebly, yeah. Squarespace, love it. Fantastic. Go higher level. Yep, heard of that. Okay. So some good options. WordPress and Shopify. Yeah. And so don't be distracted or discouraged if you're like, sometimes it's easier for people to kind of jump ship and think, well, what I have isn't good. If only I go on that side, the grass is greener type of thing. So, don't be discouraged if what you have isn't perfect. You can always kind of grow with it and improve. Yep. Free version of Squarespace, WordPress. Yep. Very, very good. All right. Well, let's jump on to number 2. And this is something that I grew up playing basketball in high school and college. And almost in every practice, we worked on the fundamentals: dribbling, passing, layups, the simple things. Being customer centric is simple. So are you customer first? Let me give you a little quiz here. I want you to ask yourself, okay, am I customer first? So think about or look at your website and social media. Do you only talk about yourself and your company, or do you put your customer first? All right, so here's a cheat on how to know if you do this. And this is from my friend Allison from Felt Marketing. So Allison DeFord talks about having too much wee in your marketing. All right, so look at your website, look at your marketing. Do you say we do this, or I do this, we offer this, we sell this? That's too much wee in your marketing. You really need to be customer focused, customer centric, customer first. And so I'm going to go through a short exercise with you to help you really identify this. Because honestly, I've worked with, and I'll share this in a minute, large multi-billion-dollar companies, as well as small solo operations, entrepreneurs. And this strategy I'm about to give works for everywhere in between. So before I give that, think about who are your best customers or clients. I know different industries call them customers, some clients. It doesn't matter what you call them. So who are the best ones you've sold to? And maybe you're like, Jeff, I'm just starting out. I haven't had my first sale yet, or I've only sold 10. That's fine. You can make some assumptions. So in thinking about your best customers and clients, think about what's the problem your customers deal with as it relates to your product or service. And that problem could be, is it a physical problem, financial problem, time constraint, relational? Is it their health? Is it, what is that problem that you're looking to solve? Now, also be thinking about, how do these problems make them feel? And that's very important, because if you're just on the intellectual level, people say, people buy on emotion. We do a lot more than I think we realize. So how do these problems that your ideal customers have make them feel? So think about the fears, the doubts, the insecurities. What keeps them up at night? What are they going to miss out on by not knowing these? And then what empathetic statement can your brand make towards your customers' internal problems? So how can you say, hey, I understand you're going through this. I've struggled myself with weight loss, with pet issues, and that's why I'm offering this. And then think about also, who is being impacted by these problems, right? Is a boss impacted by this? Maybe a friend or family member. Does this problem impact more than just the person you're selling to? So maybe it's a spouse, a child, a friend, a neighbor. I'm not sure, but be thinking about that. And then also be thinking about who influences the buying decision. So if it's a married couple, does the spouse influence the buying decision? If you're selling to businesses and people in business, is there a manager? Is there a boss that has to give approval? So just be thinking about not the person you're selling to, but the influences that come into that buying decision. Corey brings up a very good point about ChatGPT and other AI software can be a great way to find out who your target customers are and their pain points, and then how to put together marketing posts. Absolutely. Yeah, I've done this a lot. I love AI. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. For those of you that have dove in as deep as I have, you probably know AI is great. And sometimes it gets you 80% of the way there, but sometimes it gets you like 10 or 20% because it's just off. So you really have to be careful. So I wouldn't fully rely on AI just yet, but when it's on target, it's really good. But sometimes it's like way off target, and you're like, oh man, that's not even close. So just be aware of that. All right, let me tell you a story here about Cargill. Now, Cargill is a multinational company. I think they're like over 100 billion in annual revenue. Kind of a big company, if you would say, right? They're not solopreneurs, they're not entrepreneurs, they're a full-fledged company. And we did a process called the Story Brand Framework with them, and I'll share that with you here in a minute. And so my goal with this story is, if this story brand process can work with a gigantic company, I know it can also work with you, because I've used it myself for my own marketing and sales for my website, copywriting, videos, and more. So let me go over the story brand process. And what we did with Cargill is they had a new manufacturing facility. It was like 200,000 square feet. It was huge, but they knew their target audience well. They knew it was a certain type of person that is more, natural, holistic in feeding their pets and their animals. And so this facility makes the food, or the mix that would be a part of that food, right? So, think of chicken nuggets, for example. I know pets don't eat chicken nuggets, but there's multiple besides the chicken. There's the coating, the ingredients that go into the coating. So Cargill would make the ingredients that would go into the food. So maybe pet food, they would make some of the ingredients that would go to other companies where they would finish the pet food. And so we went through this story brand process to tell the story of um, of their customers. So let me talk about this. So this is really interesting because I find that most companies, whether it's an entrepreneur or a large organization or company, they think that they are the hero to their customers, and that's actually wrong. So the 7-step process of the story brand framework is this. So the main character is the hero. It's not you, right? Your customer is the hero. Why? Because everyone wants to be a hero in their own story, right? In my own story, Jeff Long, I'm the hero, right? But in your customers and your clients, they are the hero, and they have a problem, something that keeps them up at night, something that limits them from being more productive, more successful, safer, cleaner, healthier, more wealthy. Whatever that problem is, they have a problem. And they need a guide. And that's you, right? Hold on a second. They need a guide, and that's you. And you are the guide because you know the solution. You know, based on your experience, based on your expertise, based on what you have for them, that you can help them. And so you give them a plan. That could be a product, it could be a service, it could be consulting, but you have a plan in place. And because you have a plan, you give them a call to action. That could be, here's how to purchase my item, here's how to hire me as a consultant, or whatever that might be. So you're giving them a call to action, and that results in a success, right? I hope your product, your service helps them overcome their problem and achieve their goals. Now, you can share the positive rewards of their decision or their negative consequences of not working with you, not buying your products or services. And then if they go with you, you can talk about the transformation. That's where case studies happen. So you can use a simple 7-step framework on your website copy, your social media posts, your video content, and everywhere in between. All right, so here is my assignment. If you are making assumptions on who your customers are and what their needs are, screenshot these 5 things, right? So put your phone up and take a picture of these things, or screenshot it on your computer, however you want to. So call 3 to 5 customers or clients And before you do this, say, hey, I just want to ask some questions. I don't have I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to learn more. Ask about their common problems. And then say, hey, what emotions do these problems give you? And just listen. Ask what the problem is costing them in time, money, personnel, frustration, whatever that might be. And then ask them, what have you already tried? Because chances are they've already tried something. And then say, hey, if you could wave a magic wand to fix the problem, what would that look like? Let me tell you a story. I did this very thing with the companies I work with. And so I asked some of my best clients, as well as some other ideal customers of mine. I asked very open-ended questions. I didn't assume anything. And I found that my clients were typically overwhelmed with all the marketing they had to do. So content marketing, search engine optimization, email newsletters, social media, video content, and a lot more. And so they wanted to combine everything into a simple solution. And so that's where I created a service called Video Value Bombs. I'll talk about that a little bit here in a little bit. And so it really opened up my eyes to what they actually wanted and needed. So again, I could talk about, I have a whole training on this, a whole consulting kind of package where we go through this in depth, as well as some other exercises, and flesh this out. Typically, I recommend having, 2 to 3, we call them buyer personas, that you might sell to. And then you can target your marketing to those different types of people, because most of us aren't selling to one type of person, right? It could be, hey, I'm selling to, moms of kids that have a dog, or whatever that might be, or marketing people in companies that have, 50 to 100 employees. It just depends on who you're selling to. And again, most of us have different types of customer avatars. All right, let's go into video content. This is fantastic. And what we'll be talking about here is types of videos that you can do. We do high level, high professional video content, as well as more simple and authentic video content. So this is just a video we did recently with a grinding company. So you saw a lot of sparks and a lot of cool stuff. It was pretty awesome. So the very first thing is video is SEO. Video works for SEO. We're going to have a whole section about SEO here in a moment, but video helps your SEO tremendously. So I'll give this kind of pyramid here. So video lengthens the time on your website. So when you have video content on your website, people are going to stay and watch the videos, and that helps people stick on your website. That helps Google say, oh, wow, they're really coming to truefocusmedia.com to watch these videos. That must be an important website. We're going to prioritize it in the search rankings. Now, when I say put video on your website, I usually mean upload it to YouTube and then embed that or put that video on your website. You can do that in Squarespace, WordPress, and pretty much any website platform these days, but that's what I'm referring to. I don't really ever recommend uploading your videos directly to your website. Usually it slows them down tremendously. Now, some websites are built for that where you can upload it. So I don't want to give a one size fits all, but just be aware of that. Let's face it, most people would rather watch a video than read an article. Most people are too lazy. Granted, there's a lot of people that would much rather read an article than watch a video, but statistically, most people are too lazy these days to read. They'd rather watch something. And then unique ability. This is an opportunity for you to showcase your expertise in your field. We all buy from people we know, like, and trust, no matter what your business is. I've worked with multi-billion-dollar companies, as well as small, chiropractors, doctors, vets, things like that. Most of them hire me, yes, because of my skills and what I provide, but because they know, like, and trust me. And so video is a way to showcase yourself, showcase your expertise and showcase your unique ability. And then Google rewards you if you have videos on your site. They know how important video content is. So they're going to reward you by having videos on your site. Now, I mentioned a minute ago, uploading videos to YouTube. As you may know, Google owns YouTube. And so right away, Google and YouTube are the top, 5 largest, search engines in the world. And they're owned by the same company, Google. So right there, you have number 1 and number 2 right off the bat. All right, so let's be thinking about this. How important is video? Well, 73% of people are more likely to make a purchase after watching videos explaining a product or a service. So I always ask the question, do you have videos explaining, highlighting, showcasing, demonstrating your products and services? If not, your competitors do, and they're going to capture that audience. And again, I'm going to give you a strategy on how you can create effective videos here momentarily. The average B2B customer watches 30 minutes of video content before making a purchase. So again, do you have 30 minutes or more of video content on your website? Or I should say, and YouTube and social media and other platforms that your customers are on? I found that most entrepreneurs don't. And then lastly, 72% of buyers fully define their needs on their own before engaging with a salesperson. So whether it's B2B, B2C, and everywhere in between, our customers, our clients, they are doing their research on what they want, so that when they come to us, they're more informed, educated, and they're usually ready to make a buying decision because they've watched video content. So one of the things, when I present this that I would recommend is, let's say you have several products, 5, 10, 100, I don't know. Pick your best sellers, or the top 20% of your best sellers, and start with those. So, I'm not saying you have to have a video for everything you sell, but start with the ones that maybe are the best sellers, or that make you the most money, or are the simplest to fulfill, or have the biggest growth potential. So start strategically thinking about that. All right, let's talk about video value bombs here. So like I mentioned a few minutes ago, this is a service that I created a lot because I had talked with some of my best clients and asked what some of their problems and pains were. And so I found that, they wanted an all-in-one solution to create videos, articles, social media content, email newsletter content, and much more. And it's overwhelming to think of, like, I've got to create all this. So I created this simple 3-step solution that I'm going to give to you so you can do this on your own. All right, so step number 1 is a content roadmap. Think about, what type of content does your ideal customer want to know? And then produce regular customer-centric content. This is a video I have on my website, on LinkedIn, YouTube, social media, email newsletters, and everywhere in between. It already has over 7,000 views. It has comments, and it's working for me 24/7. See, I'm all about automation and making things efficient. So if I can plant these seeds of success now, knowing that it will have a ripple effect, I'm going to do that. And so this is one of the videos I did. Here is a video. Now, this is more of an industrial video. I'm going to play this one here. Let's see. Yeah, so this is a centrifugal casting company. All right, just think metal tubes. And they work on construction sites, large and small. They do a lot with, and can you still see my screen? Can you see their website?
Yes, your screen is still up.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to scroll down here. They did a big project on the Hoover Dam recently. So I'm just going to play a few seconds of this. I honestly don't know how well the sound will come across. And it doesn't quite matter, but you can kind of see this is done in his office. Like this is not a big production studio. This is done with his webcam. We coached him on that. And then we added some B-roll and things like that. So I'll just play, I don't know, 10, 20 seconds, and then I'll comment from there.
Responsible for material sourcing for your company, you've probably noticed how metal scarcity is making your life far more difficult. My name is Greg Whitman, and I'm from Spuncast, and I'd like to take some time in this video to talk about why metal scarcity is becoming increasingly problematic and potential workaround for certain type of manufacturers.
All right, so that is a pretty complex. Let me go back to my slides. A pretty complex type of video, right? He's talking about maybe words you're like, I don't even know what he's talking about. But his ideal customers know exactly what he's talking about. And so, again, just be thinking, what type of content would my customer most want? And I'm going to give you some really good examples here shortly. Kelly asks, how does a startup budget for marketing needs? That is hard. That is hard. Some people do it a percentage of the revenue, so if you're making, some revenue yet, you might want to think about that. But really, marketing drives sales, and the goal of any business is to make sales. So you should probably put some effort into your marketing, right? Whether that's your own time or hiring it out or things like that. So I don't have a blanket answer, without knowing more about your company and things like that. I know for me, I spend money on my own marketing for my own agency because I know it works. But I also do things like these video value bombs. I have a new podcast coming out soon. Email newsletters, things that don't have maybe a tangible fee, but it takes time. Now, I have some people working for me, so it's a little easier, but it is something you can grow to. And here's some other examples of people. I'm not going to play these videos, but you can see, a lot of these are in like a home office setting. Some of them are in a manufacturing facility and things like that. Let me tell you two stories. Stober Drives, this lady in green and then this gentleman in blue. They're a manufacturing company. They make gearboxes. And I've worked with them for 10, 12 years. We've produced dozens of videos. We did this video value bombs strategy for them, and it gave their salespeople a tool and a resource to use before sales calls, even during sales calls and after. And so they have 24 of these video value bombs that each target a different part of the buying process, different types of buyers, buying personas. And these have been fantastic. In fact, at first they were just going to do it for a year, but it was so successful they did it for a full second year. And then also Academy of Mind, this guy here in the brownish orange shirt. It's a software company. They do e-learning and training. And we did I don't know how many dozens of videos for them, all about their software through their customers' eyes and needs. And so we talked about different aspects of their website, of their service, of their learning management, of their software. We answered common questions, and we put them on their website, YouTube, and everywhere else. The videos that we created were some of their most popular pieces of content because they were already creating video content. So we came in to supplement what they were already doing. Our videos, last time I looked, were 7 of the most 10 popular videos on their YouTube channel. And, it was working 24/7. And for most people like us, we don't need thousands of views. Maybe you do. Again, I don't know your business. Most of us need dozens, hundreds on YouTube, dozens, hundreds on LinkedIn or Instagram or our website. It's a snowball effect. So don't be discouraged if you don't have a crazy high view count. It's totally fine. I'm going to answer a couple questions here before I move on. So Corinna says she just started, she thinks her website looks good. She's only made a few sales. She's used paid ads. Yep. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. She can't afford to keep running ads. So In what way can I market this business myself? What types of videos? Yes. Okay, this is a great question. So you can definitely shortcut things by doing paid ads on social media, but it's expensive, right? So this video value bomb strategy I'm about to give, to me, you can use paid ads to fuel these. In fact, I've worked with companies where we do both, meaning we put them out on social media, website, et cetera, but we also use them as paid ads. So I'll talk about that here in a minute. What are key points to keep in mind when selling video value bombs for service-oriented business? Well, for services, I mean, it's really the same thing. We're talking about frequently asked questions. All right. In fact, I'll get into that here in just a minute. And talking about the pros and cons, talking about what you have to offer, things like that. Is it better to host your video on your own site or put it on something like a YouTube page? Both. So you definitely want to upload it to YouTube and then embed it onto your website. Let me keep going here for time's sake. So 3 content ideas, right? So what do we talk about in our videos? Well, frequently asked questions. What are your best customers asking? You can also use ChatGPT for this. And think of 5, 10, 20 different frequently asked questions that your customers are asking. Create a video for each. I call this the content coin. So take one concept, and there's always 2 sides of the same coin, right? So I'm going to actually give you 5 sides of the same coin, right? So pick a concept. Talk about a personal story you have. That's video 1. Video 2 is a tip that you can offer. Number 3 is a how do I video. How do I do this? Number 4 is a case study. When my customer used my product, here was their success. Number 5 is what I wish I had known when I first started. So those are just 5 simple ideas on the same concept, right? So it's 5 videos, but maybe it's one topic, but you're giving it a different spin, a different angle. You're looking at it from a different perspective. And then the unicorn principle, I call it. Look at some of your best performing content on social media and create additional content around those ideas. So what's gotten the most comments, the most views, the most traction? Create additional pieces of content. Think about pros and cons and other aspects. All right, step 2 of video value bombs is content multiplication. So edit each of those videos into a value bomb, write a short article for each, create graphics and quotes from each. You can even use AI for some of this as well, if you're kind of plugged into that. And then number 3 is distribution. So rotate past videos and put them regularly on different social media platforms. And this becomes a big snowball effect that continually gets bigger as you're adding more content. So here are some places you can post your video. When we offer this service to our clients, we have, I think it's 42 different places they can post and repost their content. So obviously your website, your newsletter. What about your email signature? That's a free piece of real estate right there. Talked about paid ads, YouTube, sales presentations, and then put them in your automated email sequences. Videos attract 300% more traffic and help nurture leads, according to Marketing Sherpa. So I would recommend get started. You can use your phone, your webcam. Let me just kind of briefly go over to, so here's my LinkedIn page. I'm going to put this in the chat here. You can see, I'm going to scroll down here. These are all my videos. Some of them are not complicated. Some of them have B-roll and footage and other, pictures and videos. Some of them are very simple. So you can kind of see as I scroll down, it's almost like an endless scroll there. All right, I'm going to skip a couple things here. Here's more Stober Drive. So let's talk about pre-sale videos. Oops, let's go back to that. Frequently asked questions, product comparisons, pros and cons, industry trends. These are all types of videos that you can create before the sale. Think about during the sale. What does a customer need to know before making a decision? Well, FAQs, product demos, case studies, webinars, just like this. One of my favorite tips for webinars is take a long form webinar and then cut it into chunks, right? So this webinar here, there's 5 main points I've given. That could be 5 separate videos. Within those 5 videos, there's short, 30 to 60 second, high value clips out of that. I could probably have 10 to 20 different videos from this one webinar that I can use across different platforms. Post sale. So think about setup, install, safety, troubleshooting, FAQs, e-learning. I don't have time to go into e-learning, but that's a big focus of what I recommend. All right, let's talk about the final 2 things, SEO, search engine optimization, right? Meaning getting higher up in Google search rankings. So use SEO plugins. So if you're using WordPress, think about Yoast SEO. That's what we use typically, or all-in-one SEO. Optimize content. So your body copy, your headings, your URLs all matter. Wendy, if you don't mind, maybe wait for the slides to be mailed out. For time, I want to keep going, but that's a good question about the 5 things I mentioned. Improve your site speed. So make sure that you're not uploading large images or videos to your platform, to your website. Make sure they're optimized. And there's different websites that can help optimize images for you. I meant to get a link for you, but if you Google, photo optimized for website or whatever, you're going to find some good ones. Mobile friendly design. Google prioritizes sites that are mobile friendly and built that way. And then also think about linking from one article on your site to another, your homepage to your services page. Interlinking your web pages is a really good way to boost your SEO. Now, there's 2 ways for SEO. One is more of, I call it a solid foundation. That's what I just gave you right there. Additionally, that video value bombs strategy that I gave you also helps with SEO. Again, Google loves video. The more video you have on your site, the better. There is also benefit to paying somebody ongoing for SEO. We do this work. There is we call it white hat. There's the right way to do it that's effective. It's not going to hurt you in the long run. And then there's like the black hat way where you're cutting some corners now, but chances are Google is going to penalize you in a year, 5 years, whatever. So be very careful if you ever hire a company for SEO that you know them, they're reputable. They're not just some company that gives you a cheap price because they're from a different country or they're whatever it might be. Just be aware of SEO services. They're not all spam or scam, but a lot of them can be for sure. And as we close up here, once we do all these things, we can talk about automation. And obviously, having videos on your content does automate part of the sales and marketing process. It helps people to get to know, like, and trust you 24/7. So that if they're looking for a solution Friday night at 11 p.m. and you're in bed or you're with your family or out in the town, it's working for you. It's automating. So let's talk about automation. So once you have these systems built, think about email marketing. So integrate your email marketing like MailChimp or ConvertKit. Integrate that into your website to send out emails, newsletters, and things like that. I'll share that with you here in a minute, a link for that. Chatbots. We're doing this more and more with the websites we build for companies. Some chatbots even have AI built in so that if a customer asks a question, hey, when are you open? Or do you have this product in red? The chatbot will automatically serve up that information so that, again, if it's 11 p.m. on a Friday night and you don't want to jump out of bed or whatever, that chatbot automatically answers it for you. Or if you don't have the AI component, the chatbot can tie to your phone so you can be anywhere and it's tied to your phone. The customer doesn't know your email, phone number, personal information. They just think they're chatting directly with customer service or somebody in the company. You can do retargeting campaigns. We talked a little bit about paid ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, other types of social media ads. Make sure to have those pixels and code on your website. You can schedule content, things like Buffer, Hootsuite. You can schedule that out automation wise. Lead generation forms. I'll give you an example of one of mine here in the next slide. But this is a way to give something of value to somebody and be able to stay in contact with them. It's a win-win, right? I never recommend spamming people or there's a lot of garbage out there. You have to be careful. But if you do it in the right way, if you're giving value, people are going to keep coming back. I have a pretty high open rate and read rate on a lot of our email marketing because it's a personal thing. I don't just throw everybody in there. It's a very highly targeted list. And then lastly, e-learning. How can you train employees on things like new hire, safety certification? Even how can you hire virtual assistants? I've been able to work with a lot of virtual assistants over the years. Can you train them in a certain way where you're building a training program where they don't have to keep coming back to you for the same information? Or how can you train customers on things like setup, safety, usage of your product? Think about how to automate parts of your business. The more you can automate, the better it will go. And then you can work on more high-level things that bring in more revenue. It's a beautiful thing. I've been able to leverage that over the years. It's wonderful. Now, I do have 3 guides that you can find at truefocusmedia.com/guides. One about website optimization. So I talk about even more things in that ebook. One is on video marketing and the other is about e-learning and training. So if you want to check that out, just go to truefocusmedia.com/guides. So those are the 5 things I wanted to share about ways you can improve your website for better marketing and sales. We talked about platform options, WordPress or Squarespace. We talked about how to make it customer centric so you know exactly what your customers want, feel, and need. I shared in the video portion the video value bomb strategy of creating customer-centric video content. And then from there, you can put that into your email newsletters, your social media. It boosts your SEO, put it on your website, and so much more. And all of that helps with your SEO. We talked about some SEO benefits, how you can leverage that. And then automation, right? How do you automate those things? So I'm going to turn it back over. I don't know if there's any time for questions. I can try to answer those. I can stay a little bit longer past the top of the hour as well. But I'll turn it back over and go from there.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll allow until 1 for questions if anyone has any questions. And then while you guys are posting questions, I will include the survey link for the webinar. It will also be included in the follow-up email that will be sent within 2 to 3 business days. We do appreciate your feedback as it is value, and it also assists us with being able to continue to present other webinars like today. It is required by our funders that we can continue to provide no-cost webinars.
I'll answer a couple here, and then I see Samuel raise his hand. So let's see. Amanda said, we are considering a redesign of our website on WordPress. Congrats. Should we consider including a paid service to optimize content, copy editing, alt tags, accessibility optimization? I'm guessing the company you're thinking about working with is offering that. It's important, I'm sure they're charging something. But yeah, all those things are pretty important. If it takes some know-how to do it correctly. So I would lean towards a yes without knowing, many more details. Art said, can you use your website to figure out what your product should be priced at? You could. You definitely need sales to figure out, would somebody actually buy this at this price? You can ask 1,000 people and they might all say yes, but if they're not getting their wallets out to pay you, you know, from their credit card, then it's not correct data. I would look at other ways to do industry research. You know, asking is step one. You could go to Amazon, you could go to other websites and see what their product ranges are, and then test it. I would probably test it on the lower end. You can always increase prices as things go on, but that's probably how I would attack it at first. Samuel, you raised your hand. I'm not sure. Do you want to put your question in the comment there, Samuel? And then Karina, sorry if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. Okay, thanks, Samuel. I'll check that out. Samuel, do you mind copying and pasting that question back in? That way I can easily see it. So Karina said, do you recommend hiring a professional from a place like Fiverr to help me with marketing? Possibly. I've used Fiverr for different things over the years. Sometimes you get fantastic results, sometimes not so much. Definitely look at ratings and reviews. I would maybe ask around your local area. If you're looking for an affordable solution, people, you know, the folks at the SBDC here can give you some people. Sometimes universities and colleges have marketing departments where they need a case study, so you could partner with them. So I would probably start there. You know, with Fiverr. If it's a cheap enough thing, you know, if you're like, hey, I can kind of risk a few $100s to see how this goes, then I'd say go with it, you know, or less or whatever. If it's a few thousand, I probably would go with somebody more local or that's been experienced, right? That's been doing this a while.
And Jeff, it looks like Samuel question, if this is the correct one, if the question is if most of your work is service-based, is Squarespace good?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, most of all of what I personally do, my marketing agency is service-based. We don't use Squarespace, but the platform doesn't really matter, Samuel, meaning you could do it on WordPress, you could do it on Squarespace. So absolutely. I think now I don't know if you're going to be selling your services like consulting, or let's say you're a web designer. You know, Squarespace, you know, has some e-commerce capabilities. I personally, you know, for me in my business, I invoice people through QuickBooks online and do it that way. I don't have an all-in-one like, hey, go to my website, pick your package and check out. It's not like an Amazon. It's more of a marketing website where they contact me directly. I learn more about them. We create something somewhat custom and then go from there. But short answer is yes, you could definitely use Squarespace for your company website.
And Jeff, I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat. Again, thank you, Jeff, for presenting today, and thank you everyone for joining us today for the webinar. Again, the follow-up email will go out to everyone. If you have any questions, please feel free to send them directly to us at sbdc@simple.edu. And again, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks.